But I wanted to do an additional video for people who maybe are really short on money, and maybe they've got some time. In this starter situation where it would click but it wouldn't crank, it can be a situation where it's not getting power through this wire. It's not bringing power in from the battery going through to the starter itself. The solenoid comes together and bridges the power from your main battery connection to the starter, and it also pulls the gear out. The problem isn't that it's not pulling the gear out, it is. The problem is that the contacts inside are corroded and not allowing power to pass. So that pin in the middle, that pin transfers power. And this pin had a whole bunch of corrosion on it, and it was just, I had to chip it away. But I'm gonna go one step further. I'm gonna use a Dremel, and I'm gonna clean that to where it's shiny. And then the other part is here. I didn't clean this yet, but you can still see there's some buildup on the center. I can feel it. And that buildup is preventing a solid power flow connection. So when I'm done with this is gonna be clean, like brand new clean, and this pin inside is gonna be brand new clean. And that is actually the problem with this starter. It's not the starter itself. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's an old school kind of mechanics thing. I'm not a mechanic, but I've talked to mechanics. I had crappy cars 30 years ago when I was in high school, so I talked to a lot of mechanics about stuff, and that's one of the things that they were telling me. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and clean it. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Also, I'm gonna use this is basically a Dremel. If you have a Dremel's fine. That would be the preferred tool anyway. But this is like a rotary tool that I've attached a Dremel bit to, a cup brush, and I'm going to use that to go inside. All right, so I got all clean. None of that crusty residue in the center is left. It's all nice and shiny and clean. The same thing. It's a little hard to see internally, but I cleaned it up with the Dremel really good. So all it takes is you might want to put a little bit of grease on here all the way around, but what you do is you hook it in, boom, like that, and then you put it back together with you line up your two holes for your screws. You want to make sure the shorter stem is on the bottom, and then we're going to push it on and tighten the bolts down, and it'll be good to go. And it might not be a perfect fix, might get you a year or two until you can get a different vehicle, or whatever your case may be. All right, so there we go. We got it back together. Tighten that nut down on there, and tighten these two screws back up. All right, I wanted to do a little quick video of what it looks like inside where the starter mounts before I put the starter back in. So you see the teeth. The teeth, that's your flywheel. That's where the gears from the starter will engage, and that's they look I don't know, fairly clean. There's a little angle on them, and that could be from the starter engaging all these years, but the angle's pretty consistent on all of them, so that may be the way it was designed. I've seen some flywheels that are torn up pretty bad, but that flywheel looks good to me. So you can see where the bolts are for the starter. One's here and one's here. And then there's an alignment pin that goes here. So, all right, guys, just reverse install. I don't have the bolt specs on the cables. You might have to look online for that, for tightening all the bolts back up. But I've been doing weekend mechanic work for 30 years, and I can't recall a time that tightening something tight has come loose on me. So I'm sure there's torque specs for everything online. You might want to check it out. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this video made this a simple process for you.